The US president has delivered his first State of the Union address for his second term. Over almost 2 hours, the former reality TV star delivered both shock and drama and a hard sell of sometimes divisive policies ahead of elections midterm.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Facing low approval ratings and fearing losses in November's midterm elections, Donald Trump sought to paint this as the golden age of America.
Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before.
The president pointed to highs in the stock market, lows in petrol prices, and trotted out gold medal winners from the Winter Olympics. Even when talking about the Supreme Court's repudiation of its signature tariff policy, Mr. Trump struck a softer tone, calling the ruling unfortunate and insisting that the import duties will benefit Americans.
Despite the disappointing ruling, these powerful, country-saving, it's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in, peace-protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. Congressional action will not be necessary. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love.
The president was more combative when defending his crackdown on illegal immigrants, which has killed at least 2 American citizens. He returned to his campaign playbook.
Her mother found her lying dead in a bathtub, bleeding profusely after being stabbed 25 times. Lizbeth's killer was a previously arrested illegal alien.
Using real-life crimes to demonize immigrants and focusing instead on the victims and their families.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself.
The president's speech was light on foreign policy. He made little mention of China or Russia, but briefly made his case for a possible attack on Iran.
They're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
From the international arena to domestic affairs, Mr. Trump offered no hint of a change of course. In a rousing finale, he cast America's first 250 years as just the beginning, promising a future brighter than ever, but one that will be tested at the ballot box in 9 months' time.
And Jagruti Dave, who is covering the story for CNN Live for us, joins us from Washington, D.C. Jagruti Dave, we had a taste of how divided the reaction within Congress to that speech from Donald Trump.
Yes, absolutely. That gulf between Republicans and Democrats, very, very stark. You saw a lot of Democrats actually sit it out, the State of the Union address, traditionally held in front of both chambers of Congress. And a lot of Democrats decided that they would go to alternative events, alternative rallies to make their protest heard. But you also had some Democrats in the room really expressing their dissatisfaction. Ilhan Omar heckling the president. You had one congressman who was escorted out for a second year in a row, Congressman Al Green, for his protest against the president. So those there was a lot of political theatre in this State of the Union, and that moment that you showed where the president asked members of Congress to stand if they agreed with that sentence, that the government's first duty is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens, that was designed to show the difference between the two sides. It was political theatre on the president's part. But, the Democrats held some of their own. And in her rebuttal, Abigail Spanberger further continued to drive what seems to be the Democrats' talking points approaching the midterm. And this is this issue of affordability. A lot of Republicans, I think, back behind the scenes, want the president to talk more about the issue of affordability than perhaps foreign policy or other issues, immigration, that he talks a lot about. And that is because a lot of Americans, according to the polling, are worried about the government's handling of the economy. The president went into that State of the Union address with low approval ratings on his handling of the economy. And Abigail Spanberger had that question that she was asking, that can the president be trusted essentially to address the American people's problems with affordability? And her answer was no. And that appears to be the strategy that Democrats are going to be using. And, this is, as I say, reflected in the polling. So this is going to be this gulf, I think, the Democrats are wanting to try and exploit. President Trump went into that touting his record, saying that America is doing better than it has ever been under his tenure, and are wanting the American people to, sign up for those 3 more years that he has. But I think Democrats are really going to be trying pushing that needle to their side.
Jagruti, State of the Union address, the audience is domestic. The concerns also necessarily domestic. So no huge surprise that we did not hear a great deal about foreign policy. But what we did hear, what does that say about what we can expect in the next 3 years?
I think we didn't hear anything new from the president in that address when it comes to his foreign policy priorities. All the things that he said, his manner was what we have seen before. He was touting victories like pressuring NATO to spend more on NATO countries to spend more on defense. He was celebrating the capture of Nicolas Maduro from Caracas, again, pushing that point about US dominance in the Western Hemisphere. And we saw his celebration of a Gaza ceasefire and his belief in the US's position as essentially promoting national security. His foreign policy interventions are for American security. That is the line that the president is pushing. But of course, he didn't mention Iran that much. We don't know what, if anything, has changed about his view on conducting strikes against Iran, when he will do it, whether in fact he will conduct limited or extensive strikes. And he didn't really talk much about Ukraine. And there the president is struggling to get a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. And so I think with foreign policy, it was much of the same. But really, the spin that the president's putting is that this is about American security, his interventions, as he says it. As president, I will make peace whenever I can, but I will never hesitate to confront threats to America wherever we must.
Oh, thanks. Jagruti Dave there reporting for CNA live from Washington, D.C. on Donald Trump's first State of the Union speech in his second term.